When it comes to doing market analysis or determining pricing for upper end homes, there's different strategies. It's far more complicated than most other homes. And here's why.
Take a home that's in a neighborhood. Generally, you can find a very similar comparable down the road. Or you get into the upper end, your luxury market, lake home, for example. The most important thing generally with a lake home is what's the lakeshore like? Is it flat sandy? Are we elevated? Do we now have good views and sunsets? What direction does it face? Is it facing east? Is it facing west? There's so many just options. Variables.
In that specifically, I was pricing a lake home in Forest Lake and they had 175 feet or 180 feet of shoreline. But it's like, how much is that shoreline worth? Well, it's different if it's under 75 feet. It's different when it gets from 75 to 125 feet. And it's different when it gets from 125 feet to 200 feet plus. Those numbers of what the price per foot of shoreline changes based off of that. And that is such a small detail or variable that how do you put a number to that?
And it changes it so drastic, and understanding the market and what lakeshore is valued at in that area is trusting your agent to be able to do that. I mean, that's, again, we're just lakeshore. We're not even in the house yet. Talk about what features are in the house, what type of cabinetry, how high are the ceilings, what is the total square footage we have here, how many bedrooms, bathrooms. There's so many variables and options in there that the algorithm is going to miss when you're trying to price out a lake home or any home of that feature. You go to now flip to acreage. It's, are we 50 acres? Are we 20 acres? Is that 50 acres wooded? Is it wide open
tillable?
field? Yeah.
Is it high ground? Is it low? Are there trees? What types of trees are there?
Yep.
How is it set in the middle of it? Is it towards the side? Are you next to a busy road? Do you have a pole barn? Is that pole barn heated? Does it have a dirt floor, right? Is there a pond over there? Do you get deer in the backyard, right? Can you hunt, right? There's so many different variables that you get added when it comes to being an acreage property or 750,000 plus that you don't have when it's 400,000 and it's a split level entry home built in 1985 to 1995 and it's a 4-bed, 2-bath. I can tell you exactly what that house is worth or price without even having to look at comps. But if you tell me, hey, there's a 5,000 square foot house that's on 12.5 acres that has a detached garage, 3-car attached, and it sits on this area. It's like, well, that could either be this number or that could be this number. And that's going to depend on 1,000 different factors.
Right. We got the size of the house and also what is the pole shed. Again, as you said, is it insulated? Is it heated? Do we have concrete floors? Is there a car lift in there? What options are in just the pole shed? And we're not even talking, again, about the house of how updated is the house. Is this house 25 years old and still looks 25 years old? Or is it 25 years old and has been completely renovated, gives it a total different value?
Or a total different feel. And I think that's the big thing of really what happens in the luxury price range, or mostly in general. Like, I think we forget that buyers make decisions based off the emotion that house conveys to them. It's an emotional purchase, and it should be. It's okay. It doesn't make it bad, but let's just be honest with it like it is. Why do buyers buy flip homes that are bad windows, bad roof, bad mechanicals, all of that turn out to be a bad investment, right? Cheap painted cabinets, but it looks nice. Emotionally,
the feeling isn't there.
It looks nice. It feels good when I walk through it on this property, which in general, let's just flip that totally in reverse. Let's take great window, great siding, great cabinet, all of that, but it's just out of date. People don't like that house. So if you take that kind of look to go, it's an emotional decision. When it comes to pricing a house or luxury, if you are a high point in the woods on this acreage property, or you are south facing, you have this, you're on a cul-de-sac, which is the only one on this lake, or this is the sandbar that has the best fish, like all these little tiny details that add up to this house feels amazing. Like, what emotion do you invoke when you walk through this house? This is always something I ask any luxury seller is like, what part of this house do you enjoy the most? And describe that experience to me. And I was at a lake house on Forest Lake and they talked about, I love having coffee at this table in the morning with the fireplace going over there and watching the eagles in that nest. That is something, that feeling we have to portray in how we market this property. Sure, it's great. It's 5,000 square feet, 200 feet of shoreline, beautifully manicured. We have 1,000-year shingles or something like that. It's like, what feeling are you going to have when you are here?
And we portray that.
And how do we convey that?
Yep.
So I think that's just the reason of like, well, I understand an algorithm can't pick that out. That's not possible. But also knowing the difference or not knowing the difference, because here's what happens. All right, if we're at $1 million plus or $2 million, if we're wrong on that price, how much wrong are we off? $100,000?
Yeah.
$200,000? Now, if I'm a seller, I mean, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money to be wrong about. That's why it is so critical, I think, in those price ranges more than any other ones, that the decisions you make can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're at $350,000, $10,000, $20,000. Should we put paint carpet in here? Yeah, maybe. If we price this thing wrong by, a little bit, we'll lose 10,000 or we'll gain 10,000. You're in kind of a little smaller window kind of thing as a giant window when you're at 2 million, 1 million, 1.5. This is like, we make a mistake here, we negotiate poorly, it's a difference of $100,000 for your seller.
A giant number that most people don't understand unless you're in that price point and knowing how important that is and going through comparables to try to figure out, where does this house sit? We may have to widen the radius and take other factors into it. You may have to go back a year or two to say, hey, there hasn't been anything that's sold like this in 3 years. All right, let's take that comparable. How does that fit into today's times?
Do you know what is also the tough part when we go, hey, an algorithm can't do it? Do you know how many times that, maybe you don't want to hear this, that I'll walk through a house and I go, this feels like it's this much. That is literally, when it comes to all the data, all the things, and none of these match, I go, this is what I think somebody would pay for this. It's like an instinct or it's intuition. It's just like, it's a gut feeling to go, does this price seem too high? I don't know why, but it feels like it's too high. I have no data even almost to back it up. I'll try to find it as much as I possibly can, but sometimes you just can't. And you just go, this is probably what it is. This is what somebody will pay for it. That is something that takes years and years of experience to be able to feel and get to. Because I know we've done that 1,000 times. A lot of times we're right. We literally are.
Understanding the market and where you're at and what the house is.
Sometimes the data lies.
Yes, correct.
Sometimes the data lies. Like, how many times have you had a listing like, this isn't making sense? Look at this comp and look at this comp. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. What do we think that is? I get it why we probably could list here, but that doesn't make sense and we shouldn't. What does it feel like? Well, it feels like this. Okay, I get we don't have data here. Let's go with the feel. Let's see if we can prove the feel kind of thing or challenge, like maybe we're wrong on that. Because that's what we do, is we go through the field and we'll find every single way they could challenge to be like, all right, maybe we are wrong. Maybe it should be this. Man, it's hard to do. That's what you have to do in that price range more than any other ones. It's so complicated. It's a lot of feel. Give you all the data, but that may not matter. There's all these data points that add up to going, a buyer will spend this much money. Well, it's like, well, there isn't a data point for there's bald eagle nest in the front yard or in the backyard. How much is that worth? You tell me that. I don't know.
I take
what other comp can I pull?
I had one in Osceola last year, sitting on a cliff 250 feet above the St. Croix River. The view was amazing when the eagle would fly by. It's at your eye level. You're not looking up. You're looking straight out to see the eagle. Things like that. How do you calculate that? And you got to portray that feeling of, it's great when the eagle flies by and the buyer's walking through the house with you because now it all adds up.
No, I think there's so many data points that I think that we internally do go through that comes with 20 years of experience. Like walking through a house to go, all right, I'm assessing all of these things, but then I'm backing it up with data or helping refine that thing with the data. But in reality, like a lot of that is based off of the feel. The data backs it up or challenges like, all right, I got tricked by the feel because they had a scented candle in a room. That was my favorite scent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Am I seeing past this because this is my best friend's house and he really wants this house to be worth this much? I accidentally told them I think their house might be worth 1.2, but now as I'm looking at comps, I think it might be $9.99. How do I have that conversation with them?
Presentation and being able to find the data to help, and also just your experience and knowledge to be able to walk the seller through to say, this is why I believe your house is worth this. And here's hopefully some comparables that you're never dealing with apples to apples when we're comparing luxury property. It just doesn't happen because they all have different features, amenities. Again, lakeshore versus elevated lakeshore, sandy shoreline versus rocky shoreline. Are we facing east? Are we facing west? Are we facing south? Those factors all make a giant difference.
Yeah. But for anybody that's watching this and is looking to hire an agent, I think there's this thing of caution on it to look out for. Don't select the agent based off the one that tells you the things you want to hear. What that means is you feel like your house is listed or is worth $2.2 million. You meet with 3 agents. 2 of them tell you 1.8, 1.9. One of them tells you 2.2. It tells you all the things you want to hear that I'm going to be able to sell it at this price. price. I'm this, but you have 2 other agents that say that. And maybe one of those agents like, hey, I don't want to tell you this, but here's the truth. You're going to have to do X, Y, and Z as well. Especially in that price range, you'll know a good agent when they tell you you have to do something and tell you the things that you don't want to hear. Because everybody, most agents would love to take that listing. It'd be great. You just want, I'll tell you whatever I need to tell you. You want your house to be worth 2.2? You want me to sell it next week? Sure. Find the paperwork. I need to be hired. I can't reduce it if I don't list it.
Right.
Heard that before?
I've heard it lots of times.
That's a thing. That's one, not what we do. Promise you. I've been.
Who do you feel the most comfortable with that can guide you through the journey
is
and
telling
have
you the truth?
Hardest conversation when the time matters? That's the biggest decision any seller needs to make. I think it really matters the price range. It's, can my agent have this conversation with me? Yeah, we may not agree, but is this the best direction for me?
Yeah, but in that price range is like so many
important.
agents.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, dude, your house is worth 2.2. Sure, for sure. I'll list it. I got great marketing. It's going to be outstanding.
Right.
I'll be able to do this. But a really good agent will go, nah, I'm not your guy. I know that that's $400,000 too high. I'm not putting you through that. I'm not putting myself through that. I'm not going to give that advice that I can do that for you. If this other agent says that they can, that might be your best choice to be able to do that. And that's walking away from it.
And I'll call you in 6 months when you don't sell.
Yeah, right? That or best of luck kind of thing, right? I think that that's maybe, in the grand scheme of it, is learn that, understand that, and don't learn that one the hard way. Good agents will tell you the truth. They will know if they're on the price or not, or you'll be able to recognize if they know what they're talking about. I think it's this. I think it's really important for a seller to judge or really be critical on why they think the house is worth what it's worth. Not what the number is. Why? Like, what data points are they looking at? How smart are they about explaining that even to you? I always think the most important part of my presentation is not the marketing. It's not the other stuff. It's going, you're going to understand how good I am as a real estate agent by how well I understand the market, the comps, and how to position your house correctly. I don't need to tell you about the flair and the fluff and the, we do this and we got staging and we got that and then we're going to do this and, you know, it's yada, yada, yada. It's like, here is what you're hiring me for, is expertise. And if I can't prove that, and the one challenging point, right, of expertise of going, this is complicated, this is difficult, what is the strategy that we're taking, what is the pricing that we're going to use, and how do we get this done, how long is it going to take, how well do you know those 4 things? Then sure, you can add on the fluff and like, oh, we're going to do drone photography. Of course we're going to do drone photography. You know, oh, we're going to do geofencing. We're going to run social media ads for your property, and it's going to bring so many buyers to it. I got all these great ideas, but I don't know what I'm doing here. None of that's even going to matter. There's a hard truth. There's a lesson be learned kind of thing in there. That's why an algorithm doesn't understand how much your house is worth. I don't trust it. Subscribe to our channel to hear more hard truths about real estate.